Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and welcome to our class. And tonight we're going to discuss the Unit 3, the management of instruction. And we're going to dig deeper on the discussion about the guiding principles in determining and formulating learning objectives or our goals in teaching, no? Or teaching a lesson. So there are 7 goals or 7 principles rather that we're going to discuss for tonight. And the first one is begin with the end in mind. So before I'm going to discuss that, let's define goals first now. When you say goals, accordingly in the teaching profession, when you say goals, these are the direction, no, kung saan patungo yung lesson mo. So with that goals, yan yung magdadirect sa'yo kung ano yung gagawin mo whole throughout the teaching process. No? Okay, so the first principle is begin with the end in mind. Meaning to say, in the context of teaching, this means that we must begin our lesson with a clearly defined lesson objectives. No? So, dapat clear yung objectives natin. No? So, with a clear and specific lesson objective, we will have a sense of direction. And with a definite lesson objective in mind, we do not lose sight of what we intend to teach. No? So yan yung minimin natin sa begin with the end in mind. Again, begin your lesson with a clearly defined lesson objective. The next one is share lesson objective with students. So make your students own the lesson objective. Now, just like the seminars na ina-attendan natin, it begins with the statement of the purpose. Kung ano yung purpose ng seminar na yon. And in our class, in our lesson, we ought to begin with a statement and clarification of our lesson objective. Kumbaga, we're going to mention or present to our students kung ano yung expect nila within that period of time na magdi-discuss ka or magkaklase ka sa kanila. So make known to our students our instructional objective and encourage them to make the lesson objective their own. No? So this lesson objective, when shared and possessed by our students, will become their personal target. And it is against this personal target that they will really evaluate themselves, no, at the end of the lessons. And when our students set their own personal targets, we are certain that they will become more self-motivated. So again, we should share lesson objective with our students. The third principle, lesson objectives must be in 2 or 3 domains, which includes the knowledge, no, that involves cognitive skills, psychomotor or the skill and values, which taps the affective side of the students. No, so in this principle, our lesson may be dominantly cognitive, psychomotor, or affective. Nakadepende. No? For example, sa PE na subject, it is dominantly psychomotor. No? Sa biology, no, it may be dominantly cognitive, but it still depends, no, sa values na subject or sa MAPE ba yan, it may be affective. No, it depends. No, it depends on the nature of the subject. So, dominantly cognitive if it is meant primarily for knowledge acquisition, and dominantly psychomotor if it is intended for the acquisition and honing of skills. So, lesson objectives in the affective domain are mainly focused on attitude and values formation. So, a cognitive or a skill lesson must always include the affective dimension for holistic learning. So again, lesson objective must integrate objectives in the cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains for a holistic lesson. So our goal is to deliver a holistic lesson. So that is why we should integrate these 3 domains of learning. No? Yung tatlong yon. But still, again, meron talagang isa dyan na magiging dominant, no? And that's okay, no? Kasi we cannot make them fair or pantay talaga most of the time, no? There are times that really may magiging dominant sa kanilang tatlo. Okay, so that's the number 3. The number 4, work on significant and relevant lesson objectives. So with our lesson objective becoming our students' lesson objective also, our students will be self-propelled as we teach. No? So the level of their self-motivation all the more increases when our lesson objective is relevant to their life, hence significant. Meaning to say, dapat yung lesson objective natin is makarelate yung mga bata. Kumbaga, our lesson objective must be connected to our students' life experiences. Because that is the time na magiging interesting siya on the end of the students. So that is what we meant by the fourth principle. No? Okay, the next one is the fifth one, lesson objective must be aligned with the aims of education as embodied in the Philippine Constitution and other laws and on the vision, mission statements of the educational institution of which you are a part. Meaning to say, our lesson objective must flow, no, from the aims of education enshrined in the Philippine Constitution and the mission vision statements of the schools. Kung ano yung gusto ng Philippine government is yun din dapat yung naka-align sa kung ano yung magiging lesson objective mo, it should be aligned, no, to the Philippine Constitution and the mission vision of the school statements, no? Yun siya. This means, no, na the aims and goals of education as provided for in our laws filter down to our lesson objectives, and we have something to do with attainment of our broad aims of education, no? So with this we can contribute very much to the realization of our school's vision and mission statements because our lesson objectives are based, no, on our school's vision and mission statement. So imagine, no, what happens when our lesson objectives are not in any way related to the goals of education and to the vision mission statements of the educational institutions where we work, no? Kumbaga parang malayo, no? But then again, kahit malayo, hanapan talaga natin ng way na maging aligned sila sa lesson objectives natin, no? Okay, so the next one is aim at the development of critical and creative thinking. No? So this is easier said than done. No? Mahirap talaga siyang gawin, no? Pero madaling sabihin. No? So we need not go into to research or to be convinced that the development of critical and creative thinking is wanting in classrooms. Most questions asked, whether oral or written, are convergent low-level questions, no? With teachers quite used to awarding and praising pupils or students, giving the right answers and sometimes branding the pupil or student who asks questions na mga pilosopo, no? Yung dating, the classroom atmosphere that prevails is not ripe for the development of critical and creative thinking. So meaning to say, tayo na teacher, we should apply, no, or not just apply but establish an environment na involves critical and creative thinking. No, yun yung minimin natin dyan. And our teaching strategies and techniques should be should involve HOTS. Now, when you say HOTS, that's higher order thinking skills and creative thinking skills. So, for this reason, the whole brain must be used for balanced learning, not just the left for critical, but also the right for creative thinking. So, balance. Kasi when you say critical thinking, ang nagpo-function dyan ay ang ating left brain, no? And sa creative thinking naman, ang nagpo-function is yung right brain natin. So, we need to aim for the balanced learning na involve yung left at saka yung right hemisphere ng brains ng mga bata, no? So yan yung minimi natin sa guiding principle number 6. Then sa number 7 naman, smart means specific, no? Measurable, attainable, result-oriented, relevant, time-bound, and terminal na learning objectives. Meaning to say, when our lesson objective is SMART, meaning to say, specific siya, measurable, kayang gawin, attainable, result-oriented, relevant, time-bound, and terminal, it is quite easy to find out at the end of our lesson if we attained our objective or not. No? Kasi malalaman mo kung na-attain yung isang objective kapag may nakita kang evidence that they really learned. No? So, it will also be easier on our part to formulate a test that is valid to measure the attainment of our lesson objective. Kapag din talagang i-follow natin yung SMART. No? So moreover, our lesson becomes more focused for we have a concrete picture of the behavior that our students should be able to demonstrate if we realize our lesson objective. Okay, so that's it, no? So in short, SMART objectives increase our accountability for the learning of our students. And with SMART objectives, we depart from the unsound practice of teaching that is so spread out that in the end we find ourselves unclear on what test we are going to give to assess learning. Okay? So with SMART lesson objectives, there is greater match between instruction and assessment. So meaning to say, kapag nag-match yung instruction at saka yung assessment, there is curriculum alignment. So I think that would be all for the guiding principles in determining and formulating the goals or objectives of our lessons. I think that would be all. Thank you for listening.